Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G-Bear Homesteading the Desert. Here we are out in my garden house and my self-watering garden. And I thought I had a leak in it, and then I actually sat down and started thinking, I'll bet you what it is I was feeding it with a 20-gallon barrel, and I have 10 times 6 gallons. So there's 60 gallons of barrels, of buckets here that needed to get completely saturated. Plus, I had to fill the tubes underneath the gutter. So, sure, the barrel was going to be empty. The water had to come down here. It needed the water. So I refilled it today, and we'll see how that works out. You see my kale is doing just perfect here. And here you can see the little sprouts coming up on the beets, and the radishes, they're looking good here, and there's some sprouts coming up here on the carrots, but I don't see anything on the Walla Walla onions, so we'll have to wait to see what happens with that. So here I had pulled up the stems from my cucumber plant, and when I looked at the root ball on this thing, it was still alive and active. So I just stuck it in that bucket since there's nothing planted in there right now, and see what happens. And then I got grass growing over here. Why growing grass, you ask? Well, the chickens like it. And I pulled it out of that bucket over there, and I left a couple of other little plants of grass growing in there because I pluck it off and I go over and I give it to the chickens for treats. So that being said, that little tomato plant over there is doing pretty well. It's survived all of the heat and the cold, and it's still got a little tiny tomato on it already. And I just pruned it up, cleaned it, and left it there. Everything is well watered here from the rain, so it doesn't need any water. Down here, you can see I got a second bucket with pine needles in it. I got those from my friend Sharon, and those are the original pine needles, and both barrels are topped off with water. Both my little watering cans are topped off with water, because I transferred all the water today out of my rain barrels. And this barrel is completely full to overflow. I filled it until it came out the top, so all 4 of those barrels are full. But let's take a quick look. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I will. This is the one that goes to the gutter garden, and I did have it topped off. And it looks like it's down to about right there. So that's not bad. It's holding. And that's because everything in there is soaking wet already, so it doesn't need water. So I don't think I have a leak. Yay. Looks like that's going to make it, and we'll go on from there. My wheelbarrow with my garden soil mix is full of water, but that's okay. I'll make compost tea out of that, and I'll use it on my plants. My compost is nice and soaked down. I got to get some black plastic and a wood frame and cover that so that I can sweat that, get some heat to it. All my panels are nice and clean. I mean, really nice and clean from the rain. And you can see I drained the barrel down to maybe 10 gallons in the bottom. That's so it holds it in case the winds come up. And I did that for all of them. And what I did was I brought these 2 barrels. I have one here and one on the other side. I brought those down from up there at the container, or up at my big tank. And I transferred the water from here into there until I filled it. And then whatever extra water was in there is what I put into some other barrels, and I hauled around on my little cart there, and I went around and I filled everything up. So these are down to about 10 gallons in them. If we got more rain coming this week, I can refill those, or Mother Nature will refill them. Same thing here. I got a second barrel sitting beside here, and down the line, when I need water for my plants, I can pull up here with my little transfer pump and my little barrels, and I can suck water out of there and use that first, and then I can take water out of here through the spouts. I can run a garden hose down to the garden because this barrel is up higher than the garden, and I can just water right through a garden hose. And the way I drain these barrels down on the back side here was I did connect the garden hose to them, and I ran it down, and you see the yellow pail down there. I put it into the yellow pail, and I let it fill up the pail, and then I use my transfer pump to transfer it up high into the higher barrels. So that's all done. Over at the pond, oh, you can see all the fresh dirt and all the tire tracks here. I got down in here today with my ATV bucket, and I dug out some more. I took out 25 full buckets of dirt out of here. It doesn't look like I went down very far, but if you look down there, you can see the wet line. So I went down probably 8 inches. So I got this 8 inches deeper and almost back to where I want it. That last hump right there has got to disappear and come down a little bit more than this level here, and then I'll have it where I want it. All right, so you can see I got quite a bit out, and this is all fresh dirt here that came out of there. There's a lot of it. And those of you who think about digging underground cellars and things like that out here, that just took me 4 hours to dig all of that out of there. So it's not a fast thing, but it sure is faster than a shovel. And then you get the soil that sticks in here. I'll scrape that out later and clean the bucket, but for right now it's fine where it is. Now I went over to the pond this morning, but before I went to bed last night, or actually before the sun even set, my neighbor John was down here and picking up some dog food, and we had a little chat and walked around here, and I showed him how to use divining or witching rods, and he wants to film me doing that for you guys sometimes. I don't know if anybody's interested in that. Let me see a show of hands. Oh, I don't see any hands. All right, come over here to my pond, and there's still water in the pond, but it went down. And what I was saying was, before the sunset last night, I came over here and I stuck that stick in the mud right at the shoreline where the water was touching it. So you can see how far it's gone down. And over there, the water line, the mud line, was a foot yesterday, and it's 16 inches today. So it went down 4 inches just overnight and through today. And the ground over there is really soaking wet. So it's looking good. There's a lot of clay and silt that ended up in that little hole over there. So I might take my pond out through there also. Just make it an odd shaped thing. It'll be cool. I walked the whole stream bed today, and there are some real heavy deposits of black sand going all the way up the stream bed, and I haven't even done the downside of it yet, because I always start up high and then work my way down if I find anything. But there's a lot of heavy deposits of sand up, black sand up there, and I'll be collecting some of that and putting it into a bucket. That's a good iron. Anyway, here I am, walking like a hurricane, is it? Yeah. Anyway, I still got that rain bucket in there I've got to dump out, and get a few more things done. So tomorrow, if it's another nice day like today, it is beautiful out here today. Clean, fresh, crisp air, warm. Here I am walking around in my t-shirt. Just beautiful. I had to take the jacket off before lunch. It was already too hot to wear a jacket. I had to move the van out so I can get around with the machine and drain the barrels. And I still forgot I have to drain my laundry barrel, because that's got a little gutter on the back of my laundry shed. And I picked up all the way from the bottom seam, all that water that's in there. So there's probably 45 gallons of water that I got just off that little shed roof in that heavy rain that we had. That's pretty good. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to pick up a couple more barrels for rain barrels, and I'll double them up on each corner. And that one there, I'm going to empty it out completely, and I'm going to raise it up a little bit higher, get something under it so that it's not a little critter hideout underneath. But I'll raise that up a little bit, and then I'm going to put another one right beside it, and I'm going to tie the two together, kind of at the top and at the bottom. So, well, maybe just at the bottom. I don't have to do both. But I'll tie them together at the bottom with a PVC line, so that as one fills up, the other fills up, and then I can get 2 barrels worth at each corner instead of just one. And that'll take me well into the summer months for watering plants, because if it's raining, I don't have to use my water. So that's a good thing. That's all for today, everybody. Beautiful weather, beautiful view of the mountains. I mean, just outrageously nice. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Now it's too much haze over there, but all those mountains over there are all capped with snow. And when I was coming up yesterday, I drove right past all of that, and I had to turn my heater on. I got a little chilly. All right, some more geoengineering going on over there. They just can't leave us alone. That's all there is for today. And I'm going to get out there and do some gold panning, and I'll let you see what's happening with that. I think I can bring my tripod out and show you what's done with that and how it works. So G-Bear saying, don't forget, if you like my videos, go right below my Band-Aid right there and give me a thumbs up if you like my video. And don't forget to subscribe and share my videos with the other people that you know. Send a link. Just share it with them. Say, hey, check this guy out. Thanks. G-Bear signing off.